Hi everyone, I'm Leandra. Welcome to today's coding club. Today we are going to be doing another arrays activity, once again using emojis. For those of you who are just opening up the links, I just posted it in the chat. For those of you who are trying to use this as part of like a class or watching this or something now that school's actually started, this is the Variable Emotions tutorial, and it is in either Computer Science 101 or JavaScript 201, depending which course you're kind of looking at or doing or whatever. How's everyone doing today? I'll give you a chance to open up the link. So this project essentially goes a bit deeper into actually using arrays. Last week we did surprise emoji, which is one of my favorite ones, where we're just pulling an emoji sort of randomly from an array. But this one will actually help us like understand it a bit more, which is important when we're learning about different programming concepts. So when you open this up, it's going to, at the start, have 4 different variables already set here. I'm going to make my face a little bit smaller. There we go. We are going to be using these to actually place them around the screen using arrays. And I've been wanting to do a code through on this one for a while because everyone does this tutorial and like so often people don't do it sort of the way the tutorial is like walking them through it. They don't use arrays, they just set everything manually. So yeah, I'm excited to have a code through for this one. Cool. So for those of you who are following along, once again, I posted the link in the chat, and we can go ahead and get started here. So the first thing we're going to do is choose words that sort of connect with these emojis, and we can always choose different emojis too. But to start, we're just going to use the emojis that are here. It's these 4. And we're basically going to be using an array to set different like feeling words to these emojis. We're going to label them, for like lack of a better word. And I'm actually going to add like a comment under each one to do like some brainstorming. So this one I would say looks yeah, I mean certainly like smiley. This one's definitely angry. This is an angry dude. This one is loving or excited. And then I'm going to call this one anxious. Okay, cool. So now the next step here is to actually fill an array with these different words and then associate each of these emojis with the element in the array. So really, this project is what we call challenges in VidCode. It's less of like a project-based activity and more of like an exercise to help us understand arrays a little bit better and variables a little bit better. So to make an array here, I'm going to write var. Whenever I want to make an array, remember I have to write the word var, and then feelings equals, and then my empty array. Do you all remember an array from the last 2 clubs? It's essentially just a list of items that we can use to hold things like emojis, like words. Really anything can go into an array, and it stores it in an ordered list to make it really easy to pull things from it later. So for example, if instead of a list of emojis, we were making like a video game and we wanted, I don't know, emojis falling from the ceiling, a great way to store the emojis we wanted to use would be in an array like this. It just helps us keep track of things. So in this case, I'm going to fill the different like feelings that I think that I'm assigning to these emojis. So first is going to be smiley, then angry, then excited, then anxious. This is good practice as well for you all to sort of fill things in arrays. And I would say as you're following along, You don't have to use the same emotion words that I am. I would encourage you to sort of choose your own here. And then creating this feelings array is going to be really good practice for you creating arrays with the correct syntax. So remember, it's between this open and closed square bracket, and then every single one has a comma between it. The most common error that I see when people submit like bugs with arrays is that they're missing this comma, or when strings are involved. Remember, whenever we have like an open quotation mark and a closed quotation mark, we have a string, sometimes people will put the comma inside the string, and that'll give us an error because now there's no comma between these two elements. So look for that. That's like super, super important when we're creating arrays. Okay, cool. So now we're actually going to pull the different elements from this array and like add it as text to label the different emojis. So if you're following along, I'm on step 4 out of 6 here. So I'm just going to drag in this text element. And it's going to, as usual, pull in a variable, in this case called myText5. I'm just going to call it label1. And then my text function that's creating this object with the word hello. You can see in these like 4 different emoji variables, I'm not anywhere like editing these properties outside of this function. And that's because in this function, I can actually set like the position of my text inside the function. Does that make sense? So like if you remember, I can edit like a variable or a text object using its variable name and then calling the property, and I'm going to just like make it huge. What did I do? Oh, emoji 4. Okay, cool. So I used the variable, called the size property, made it bigger, and you can see here the effect that it had. But it's getting placed, right? It has a position on this page without me doing that anywhere. And that's because I can also pass things directly into the text function. So if I go ahead and open this up, you can see here, the very first thing is the message, and then the X position, the Y position, the color of my text, and the size. So I can set all of those things without ever calling that variable later on. I can do that all in this initial function that I set up. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to place this label 1 so it's next to my emoji. The first number is going to be the X position, which is going to be left and right. I'll put that at like 45, 65. That looks good. Okay. And so then I want to pull in the very first element of my array here. Does anyone remember how to like pull things from arrays and what's like the weird thing about how we count with arrays? I'll pause for a second and see if anyone knows. Okay, I'll just tell you. So when we count for arrays, we start at 0, which is kind of weird, but it's just something to sort of remember. So here, if I was going to pull out the first element from this array, I'm going to pull out the 0th element, and then the first, the second, and the third. So even though this array has 4 elements, I'm going to use like array 3 to pull out the 4th one, which can be a little bit confusing, but it's just kind of something to remember. So to pull out the feeling that's associated with my smiley face, I'm just going to write feelings, 0. And there it is. It's that easy. I don't know how I feel about this project. So I'm just going to do the same thing with the rest. So let's just drag 3 more of these in. Why not? Why not do it all at once? And I'm going to go ahead and call these label 2, label 3, label 4. Okay, awesome. And then in this first one here, I'm just going to write feelings 1, right? Because I want angry to be there. And then I want to actually move it by the angry emoji. So I'm just going to go and keep the Y position, which is the second one, at 0. This isn't here, but by default it's going to be set at 0. So here I'm going to say like 200. I can also always hover over my screen to kind of get a feel for where things are. You see down here on the bottom left, it shows me where on my canvas my mouse is. It's kind of a way to like cheat and, not cheat, but get like a preview of where it might go. So it looks like 380 is good. Move it up a bit. Okay, awesome. So then here for my heart emojis, I'm going to say feelings 2. And then I need to place it. So let's see. I'll place it as 65Y so it matches the other one. And then bring it down to like 270, it looks like. Let's use this from excited to love me. Okay, awesome. And so then this last one, and then 410X position, and then 284Y position. It's too far over. Let's see. 380. Okay, awesome. So then what's the benefit of something like this? Like, why would we store these different things in an array? And what are some of the downsides to this? Well, I would say one downside, and we're done with this tutorial. This is sort of just a way to get you used to pulling different elements out of an array. One downside of doing things this way, I would say, is that these aren't aligned. So here, if like I decide to change this, like if I'm like, all right, okay, let me change the heart one. So I'm like, all right, I don't want a heart to be here anymore. Instead, I want a bumblebee. So it gets updated here, but it's not actually connected to my array, right? Like I could look into this and be like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and like change this to like bumblebee. But ideally, I would want something where these two elements are connected in some way, and have some way where I could maybe like add information as a user to this array. So one way I could do that would just be to have 2 arrays so that the numbers match, so that it would be easy for me to sort of pull from both arrays and get the same element. Another option is something called like an object. So I would be able to set an object with the emoji and like the label attached to it. And that would be something that would be easier as well. So we don't have to do that now. But I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, it's one of the, definitely one of the easier ones as far as like project-wise. There's no randomness here. If we were going to make like change this so that this was in an array and then these had the same sort of elements or like number attached, all I would have to do would write var emojis equals like open bracket, close bracket, and then just put in all of my emojis here. So I'm just going to copy and paste them in. And then here, instead of having this hard-coded, I could say emojis 0, emojis 1, emojis 2, and emojis 3. And then I can take this array and move it back up here. And so now at least I have things like feeling a bit more organized, right? Like if I update like this third element, which would be 2, for example, I have these right here, so it's like pretty easy for me to just be like, all right, check out emojis index 3, as well as emoji like feelings index 3, and that would be this face and this face, and I'd be able to update it more easily. Yeah. Oh, Chomchi, why don't you go ahead and share your code? While I'm waiting for Chomchi's code, I can go ahead and change the background color here. I always forget how to do this. Yeah, okay, so it's movie.color equals red. Let's see, that's a good emoji background color. Okay, awesome. Let me just move this out. Okay, Richa, do you want to share your code as well? Will I go over Chomchi's? So I'm posting Chomchi's code in right now. This is super pretty, by the way, Chomchi. Okay, awesome. So I think I have all your code in. So it's looking good, I would say, at a glance. So whenever things are like looking super correct, it's usually you have something open that isn't closed, if that makes sense. So like an open parenthesis and not a closed parenthesis, an open curly bracket and not a closed curly bracket. Here, it looks like you have 4 open quotation marks that don't have matching closed quotation marks, which is going to definitely break your projects. So we can go ahead and add a closed quotation mark, but we don't really want that here because that's just going to pass in the text, flower 0. Instead, we want to be able to like actually use it as a label or like something that we're calling. So if I get rid of these, I think it should work. There you go. So I'm not seeing the tulip label. I think it's probably hiding somewhere. Yeah, it's up there. So we're gonna have to just change the Y position. Awesome. So Chomchi, basically all you had to do was just delete the quotation marks that were right here. So here's the, if it helps, the updated code. Okay, awesome. I am looking at Risha's now. So Risha, I am just setting up your code here. So Risha, did you say that you have an error? Or it's just not working? So one, you have the same sort of bug, it looks like, that Chomchi did. So you're going to want to get rid of that quotation mark here. So you had a quotation mark right after the feelings array. So yeah, so in both cases, you guys had quotation marks that were open and not closed, which is just going to, which is going to sort of break the project. And the thing about the broken projects, which is annoying, is that once they're broken, your updates will stop updating. So it can feel like, oh, what am I doing wrong? And really there's just like this one bug. But no, Risha, this is perfect. So if I go ahead and copy this and set label 2 and call feelings 1, yeah, it's going to work perfectly. It's like 465. Cool, so you can just keep going through it like that. But this is perfect. Cool. Well, you guys saw a couple projects. I'm going to go ahead and publish this and see if anyone else has submitted any, so you can see other folks who are in club today. Oh no, Risha. Or no Chomchi. Let me go back and see if I can get it back. I'm sorry. Let me see if it saved or anything. Did you save it? Yeah, I don't see it here. But that's okay. Here, let's get it back really quick. So we had different flowers. And then you had an array called flowers, which was, oh, actually, wait. Oh, that's right, you posted your code here. Yeah, we can get this back. Awesome. And then this one was the one that was like in a weird place. So it's a 65 and 284. Beautiful. Oh yeah, and you were saying that these overlapped. So tulip is the second element. So let's go ahead and move it a bit more to the right. And there we go. So instead of posting your code, I'm just going to post the project, and you can go ahead and remix it to get your code back. So if you open that link, there should be a remix button where mine says edit. It just says edit because this is my project. But you'll be able to make a copy. Cool. Well, this was a slightly short club today. We do have one project that someone made that I want to share with everyone. Yug, thank you so much. We have this great feelings array, great use of comments. So we have the / here with the arrays so that like if I am just a person coming in and scanning this code or like remixing it, I can see really easily where everything came from. And we have smiley, angry, excited, and anxious. And here we go, we're able to place them using the actual function instead of the X and Y variables manually. Well, thank you so much for making that and submitting it. And it was great to see everyone. Let's see, what are we going to make next week? Let me pull up the course. So next week we're going to keep working on arrays. I kind of like working through the course here. I'm not sure that we've done the Pride or the True Colors one. Those are both making flags. They're super fun. And after that, we're kind of done with this course. So we'll be going on to 301 and start doing more like loops and animations and stuff like that. Since we actually have some more time left, let's use this puzzle. So if you guys want to publish your variable emoji projects and move on to the link I just posted, these are puzzles in VidCode and they're quite fun. They give you broken code and sort of ask you to fix it and like make a project. So in this one, we're going to try and like make this look like this, with like a background and text and an active moving GIF of an animal. So I have to look at this code and sort of figure out what's wrong. So those of you watching now, where should I look first? What do you think? One place I probably want to look is where my error is showing up. And so I'm getting that it expected a square bracket, but isn't getting one. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I look at this, it looks like, and I haven't done this one in a while, so we're sort of debugging this together. So it looks like this bracket is like a parenthesis and not a square bracket, which is going to break my array. So let's go ahead and update that. And it looks like I'm still getting an error. Because, and I said before that this was the most common one, it's also missing a comma. There we go. So I think it's going to take a second to load, but I think I did it. I think I fixed it. I like successfully debugged this array. So right now, oh no, what else is wrong? So the other thing that's wrong is that my index is getting set here. So if we look at this pets index, this is doing exactly what we were just doing in variable emotions, right? This is calling this number to pull an element from the array and put it on this page. But it's calling number 3, right? So if I count through this array, 0, 1, 2, there is no 3. I'm honestly surprised it's not giving me an error telling me that like it's calling my array out of scope. So if I instead change this to 2, not 22, there we go. It loads. So I can go through and choose my favorite animal. I actually prefer hedgehogs to otters, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this to a hedgehog. But that was it. So if you were following along, I hope that helped you debug arrays, but I definitely encourage you to go to the link that I posted and sort of do this on your own as practice as well. So I hope everyone had fun today. Like I said, this was more of like a practice club versus like our usual project club. Next week I think we're going to do flags and sort of go back to the world of projects. Have a wonderful week, everyone. I know school's back for a lot of you, so I hope everyone has fun and finds time to work on coding projects. Bye, guys.